the fact is, as much as a cautionary tale it is for the Republicans, the reality is that you could easily say, well, President Obama needs to go back and channel Teddy Roosevelt, given the problems that he's had dealing with an intransigent Congress, legislation that might be more popular in the public than in that building, getting bottled up in committees and not even getting to the floor.
I mean, that's a real question today. He's talked recently again about using the bully pulpit in order to mobilize the sentiment to do something in Congress. And the question is whether the bully pulpit is as powerful today as it once was. When Teddy gave a speech, the whole speech would be in the newspaper. And he was great at shorthand phrases. I mean, the great thing Teddy had as a communicator was he said, I know how to speak in ways that connect emotionally. So my Harvard buddies, he said, might think I talk too folksy, but he had speak softly and carry a big stick, and the square deal was perfectly
He knew how to speak in these, what were sound bites before there were sound bites.
Exactly. He even gave Maxwell House the slogan, good to the very last drop. He loved coffee. But anyway, so he used the bully pulpit, and he was able in the print medium when we first had national newspapers to make a huge splash. FDR comes along, he understands perfectly the voice of the radio. And you could say everybody would listen, 80% of the audiences. Saul Bellow said you could walk down the street on a hot Chicago night, not miss a word of what he was saying, because you could see everyone in their living rooms lit up listening to the radio. Even in the early days of television, before the cables, everybody listened to those three networks from JFK to Reagan. Now, even if Obama makes a speech, you might be listening to your favorite cable network. You might hear the pundits, sometimes including me, embarrassingly tearing it down or whatever before it's even begun.
While it's going on.
While it's going on. I mean, I don't even like to do that, actually, when I'm asked to do that. And then you don't even agree on the facts of what's happened. And then our attention span is so broken up
So that in some ways, the way that the media has changed has made it harder for any president, not just this president, to avail himself of the same opportunity that Roosevelt had in this case.
I think that's right. And the reason I talk about it as the golden age of journalism, this one magazine that I focused on, McClure's magazine. I love the guy, Sam McClure, who founded it. But he gave his reporters, including legendary reporters, Ida Tarbell, Ray Baker, William Allen White, Lincoln Steffens, in journalism courses. These are the big heroes. He would give them 2 years of research time before they wrote a single word.
Oh, it's just like that now. It's no different at all.
But you know what's so important is that they then wrote stories, like Ida Tarbell. The trusts were kind of abstract. Nobody knew when Teddy was talking about what does it mean to have a trust or a monopoly. She writes about how John D. Rockefeller had used unfair, illegal means to gain control and squeezed all these other companies. Suddenly, the country says, we got to do something about Standard Oil. And Ray Baker writes about railroad abuses. Upton Sinclair writes about the meatpacking plants. And they're stories. And people can absorb the stories. It makes it much easier for Roosevelt.